Well, yesterday, President Trump finally released what everyone has been asking him to release.
Nice.
George Santos, the former Republican congressman who had pled guilty to fraud and something called aggravated identity theft, which I think is when you push someone into a closet and switch clothes with them.
Donald Trump said that at the debates he wants both of them to stand instead of sit. So that's the status of our presidency. Standing is a feat of strength. I think we can learn a lot more watching them both try to get out of a beanbag chair.
It's political chaos disguised as a campaign rally, and Colin Jost and Michael Che are standing by with popcorn and perfect timing. Together, they turn the White House circus into a late-night demolition derby where J.D. Vance plays the sidekick, Trump plays the emperor, and both end up in a comedy blender set to disaster. Every speech, every slogan, every attempt to sound presidential becomes a new sketch in America's longest-running reality show. The punchline: the show never ends, only the dignity does.
Well, America elected Donald Trump to run the country like a business, but it turns out he's running it like one of his businesses. I love that you can intentionally ruin the economy and still get to stay president. It's like if you drunk drove your car through the window of the DMV and they were like, license.
Colin opens by treating J.D. Vance like the world's most confused intern, someone who joined the political circus thinking it was a book club. The man went from writing about the struggles of his hometown to becoming the mascot for a billionaire president who couldn't spell Appalachia even if it came with cue cards.
The White House also announced that Vice President J.D. Vance will travel to the Vatican for Pope Leo's inaugural Mass. And I'm not a huge fan of his outfit.
President Trump, while on his trip, said that Iran has sort of agreed to terms for a nuclear deal in the same way Trump has sort of agreed to uphold the Constitution. Many people in Saudi Arabia were very happy with President Trump's visit to the country because rich Saudis love to fly out thick blondes.
If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. It's like watching a motivational speaker slowly turn into a motivational warning. Michael Che slides in, already smirking like he's seen this plot twist before. He calls it the political buddy comedy no one asked for, one man pretending to be tough and another pretending to be loyal. JD's devotion to Trump is so intense it could qualify for its own loyalty oath.
Zelensky has said that if President Trump provides Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles, he will nominate Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. You know, the prize they give you for selling missiles. There was outrage this week over a leaked group chat between Republican leaders which praised Hitler and referred to black Americans as watermen.
And just when you think the orbit couldn't get any tighter, JD's loyalty levels up again, part performance, part prophecy, all politics. Colin jumps back, marveling at how Trump treats every political event like an episode of his old TV show. The difference? Back then, people were paid to act impressed. Now it's just JD nodding like he's afraid to miss his cue.
It's insane. This was the worst week for the stock market since the summer of 2020. But you have to remember, back then, the president was also Trump. Just in the past 2 days, investors have lost over $6 trillion. Money is leaving the stock market faster than Morgan. I don't know. I just feel like as a Catholic, Trump's photo just feels slightly disrespectful. Also, if Trump really wants to be Pope, he should probably stay away from JD.
Now JD nods so aggressively it looks like he's trying to win an invisible bobblehead contest. Colin jokes that JD's career arc looks like a boomerang launched by principles, caught by politics, and permanently stuck in Trump's orbit. Che adds that Trump rallies feel like open MIC nights for conspiracy theories, the only places where facts show up just to get booed.
President Trump has signed an executive order giving refugee status to white people from South Africa. You know, I could have sworn that white people had it good in South Africa. Must be the Mandela effect. The Trump administration announced that after face-to-face talks with China, it is lowering tariffs from 145% to 30%, which is a little like OJ bragging about taking the knife out.
And when the script never changes, why rehearse? Just reheat last season's drama and serve it as breaking news. Trump strides in like a man auditioning for a role he already lost, repeating the same lines with the confidence of someone who never checks reviews. Che calls it performance art for people allergic to accountability. Colin says Trump holds rallies like sequels, same plot, same slogans, just more side characters pretending it's new. JD becomes the political version of the guy holding the flashlight for someone who lost their keys. Colin laughs that JD went from hillbilly elegy to presidential apology, bending his own story to fit a script he didn't write but desperately memorized. Michael Che adds that every Trump speech starts confident and ends confused, like watching a GPS reroute itself mid-sentence. The teleprompter must have a built-in sigh button by now. Meanwhile, JD claps on cue like a malfunctioning studio audience. Che quips if loyalty points were transferable, JD could have bought a conscience by now.
Vice President J.D. Vance seen here watching the plane leave Greenland without him. Continued his sad reboot of Veep this week by visiting our military base there and delivering the administration's clearest threat so far. Either Greenland joins the U.S. or the U.S. will keep sending them J.D. Vance.
And honestly, he's not wrong, because watching Trump and JD together feels less like politics and more like a rerun nobody asked for. Che goes full roast mode, calling their partnership The Apprentice Regret Edition, a show where every episode ends with someone pretending they meant to be there. He calls JD America's most ambitious background character, a man so eager to agree he probably practices nodding in mirrors. Trump treats loyalty like currency, spending it faster than campaign donations disappear into legal fees. Colin jokes Trump doesn't lead, he narrates his own myth in real time. JD, the malfunctioning parrot, echoes everything, hoping he'll get promoted.
President Trump responded to a report showing the U.S. economy was declining by posting, "Be patient, and if his brain gets any worse, he's gonna be patient." Attorney General Pam Bondi claimed that if not for Donald Trump seizing fentanyl at the border, 75% of all Americans could be dead. But hey, don't threaten us with a good time.
And that's not just irony, it's branding. Only Trump could turn political rot into prime waterfront property. Colin points out that Trump talks about draining the swamp while building luxury condos in it. JD plays the enthusiastic realtor insisting the water's fine. Che says Trump's campaign stops feel like motivational seminars for people who forgot what they were motivated about. JD stands there like an extra in a superhero movie who doesn't realize the script is a comedy. Colin dives into Trump's social media, calling it the world's most consistent performance art. JD defends every post like a loyal intern, replying, "Great point, sir." His phone probably has an auto reply, "Absolutely, Mr. President."
While traveling on Air Force One to the Middle East to celebrate the ceasefire, President Trump told reporters, "I don't think there's anything that's going to get me into heaven." Then he paused for 10 full minutes, waiting for someone to say, "That's not true." Because Trump can't go to heaven. He's far too busy down here.
At this point, Trump isn't just bending the truth, he's folding it into origami and selling it as art. Che compares Trump's truth stretching to Olympic-level gymnastics. Every twist lands nowhere near reality, but still gets applause. JD plays the commentator, giving every move a perfect score. Fact checkers should have loyalty cards by now. Colin calls Trump's rallies the most expensive therapy sessions in history, crowds cheering grievances while the president vents. JD is the emotional support candidate, nodding through the noise. Che says JD's political evolution isn't growth, it's shapeshifting. He once built a brand on realism but traded it for relevance. And Trump treats that as the highest compliment.
President Trump impersonated a transgender weightlifter in a speech to graduates at the University of Alabama, which is a sentence so stupid it couldn't even get into the University of Alabama. There is speculation that the next pope could come from Africa, which would mean he'd have to travel over Colin's dead body.
And honestly, that's probably the most accurate album review Trump's ever gotten, because every track ends with the same chorus, "It's all about me." Colin compares Trump's leadership to a remix of Chaos, Ego, and Nostalgia. JD plays the backup dancer, pretending the song is still charting. Every policy is marketed like a limited time offer, except the expiration date is democracy. Trump's economic plans sound like motivational posters read aloud. JD repeats every word as if repetition creates results. Meanwhile, The deficit is doing stand-up with no punchlines needed.
This week, President Trump met with Kid Rock for what appears to be Drag Queen Story Hour. Kid Rock watched Trump sign an executive order on concert ticket fees and then returned to his regular job as a 4th of July lawn skeleton.
From indictments to investigations, Trump has turned courtroom drama into campaign strategy. Che jokes JD is so loyal he'd probably write a sequel called Elegy for an indictment. Trump collects scandals like trophies. JD stands by smiling like a saint in training. Colin says Trump loyalty is like musical chairs in a hurricane when the music stops. Someone ends up outside explaining what went wrong. Rallies are part therapy, part stand-up, all chaos. JD laughs on cue even when the joke is on him.
President Trump addressed a joint session of Congress and claimed that no president has changed government faster than him. Yeah, and nobody changed airport security faster than bin Laden. One of the founders of the Black Lives Matter movement announced that he is supporting Donald Trump for president. And I'm going to assume he announced it during a traffic stop.
And when ratings dip, Trump doesn't reflect, he rewrites the review and fires the waiter. Colin says Trump treats history like a Yelp page, constantly refreshing to see how many stars he has. JD makes sure every review sounds glowing even if the restaurant burned down. One day Trump will build a library full of pictures of himself, and JD will volunteer to dust them hourly. Che points out Trump's patriotism sounds like a brand ambassador selling a product loudly, inconsistently, and mostly for profit. If political survival were an art form, these two would paint with gasoline. Che says their duo is the comedy gift that keeps giving. Trump's bluster, JD's devotion, and America's exhaustion create the perfect satire. Except it's not a sketch. It's real life. Every time Trump claims victory, it feels less like politics and more like performance art funded by disbelief. Colin ends with the final punch. JD Vance's story started as a warning about misplaced faith and ended as proof of it. Trump remains the conductor of a one-man orchestra playing the same tune. And Colin Jost and Michael Che aren't switching off anytime soon because as long as Trump's show runs, the jokes write themselves.